get when you combine modern technology with the ancient past. Ready? A whole new look at secrets hundreds of years in the making.
Arm folded in, and then spine coming down kind of right here at us.
Dr. Andrew Trout and his team at Cincinnati Children's are getting the first glimpse at the inside of a 560-year-old Peruvian child mummy currently on display at the Cincinnati Museum Center.
We know that it's 400 to 550 years old, but we think it's maybe 2 to 3 years old, but we can learn more about its age. We can learn more about how it died, perhaps.
Those answers could lie in the light and shadow of these X-ray and CT scan images.
So we could see dried out lung, it looks like, and some of the dried out abdominal organs, I presume liver.
But when I finally saw it, it was absolutely beautiful to see, and the doctor was amazed by how clear the bone structure still was for being 550 years old.
Maybe relatively easy to segment.
But some of the questions will remain for a while longer as a team of scientists and curators pore over these snapshots of a life that ended mysteriously centuries ago.
As far as figuring out are there anomalies or abnormalities, that's going to take some time and some detailed evaluation of the images.
But it's just really exciting to actually contribute to science and learn something that's been unknown.
No deflation here. The price tag for an ad during Sunday's Super Bowl, as much as $4.5 million per 30-second spot, according to Cantor Media, up about 7% from 2014. That's solely the cost of the airtime, not even counting costs like signing celebs.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Viewers on Sunday can count on perennials.
Say, how much for the Doritos?
But what else is in? First, a digital strategy that stretches investment beyond the fleeting TV spot.
It's very rare now for a commercial to be a standalone entity. Rather, that's the foundation of a bigger integrated marketing campaign that includes a lot of online and digital elements.
Teasers, trailers, exclusive online content, and hashtags, particularly crucial for first-time advertisers. Super Bowl advertising rookies are also in on Sunday. At least a dozen, like startup Wix, a web platform for small business owners hoping for a big game boost.
Farm and carve. It's charcuterie.
Also in, puppies. Budweiser will bring back a familiar friend. An edgy Super Bowl perennial GoDaddy planned a puppy parody, but pulled it after animal activists said it glorified puppy milks. What else is out? A lot of automakers. Car companies quadrupled Super Bowl ad spending between 2005 and last year, but names like General Motors and Volkswagen opted to stay in park this year. Also out, forgetting that women watch the big game too. Nationwide Insurance will put funny lady Mindy Kaling in the game. Paralympic snowboarder and Dancing with the Stars fan favorite Amy Purdy is the star of one of Toyota's ads. And a sweet spot from Dove highlights its skincare line for men with a softer touch. Whether a brand is in or out for the next Super Bowl can usually be decided by Monday morning.
There are advertisers who come and go, who are there for 1 year and disappear thereafter. Hindsight being 2020, perhaps the Super Bowl wasn't the best investment for them. But you don't know until you play the game.
The strategy of Super Bowl ads as calculated as the game itself. I'm Karen Kefa reporting.
A maternity hospital in Mexico City's southwest side turned into a death trap when an explosion sent debris flying into the air. Now, I want to set the scene for you. Take a look. You'll see police officers setting up a perimeter, protecting the scene. Now, this is a very active scene. You can see that a truck is going to be pulling behind me here very soon. But take a close look at the hospital. You see a pile of debris, front loaders that have been working around the clock. We've seen volunteers going in with shovels, picks, axes, sifting through some of that debris. Here is what we know from authorities. A gas delivery truck that entered the hospital, where you see this truck right now, was there to refill the butane tank at the hospital. A hose busted, triggering the explosion and collapsing about 70% of the building. Now, here's the other thing that we know from authorities. At least 3 people are dead. At least one of those is a child. More than 60 others are injured. And hear this. At least 20 of those could be children. As for the operators of this delivery truck, all 3 of them are injured and all 3 have been arrested. As for the company that they work for, Express Nieto, they have released a statement saying that they are cooperating with authorities. Again, this is a very active scene, as you can see, and police playing a pivotal role securing the scene. Rosa Flores, CNN, Mexico City.
Ven, ven, Señor.
Father Cirillo Castro holds Mass in a converted garage. There are no walls and just a tin roof. It doesn't always have enough chairs, but this is the closest thing the isolated Cuban town of Sandino has ever had to a Catholic church.
El Señor esté con ustedes.
After the service, Castro takes me to the site of a new Catholic church, the first to be built in Cuba in over 56 years, not since the Cuban Revolution seized control of the island.
A que no se quede en 4 paredes.
I hope the church doesn't stay within these 4 walls, he says, that it will go farther than that. That with the building of the new church, there will be more people of faith. Right now, the building's cornerstone sits in an empty field, but when the church is completed in 2017, Father Castro tells me it will hold 200 people. The new church represents a mending of relations between the Catholic Church and Cuban government, which in the first years of the revolution seized church property and expelled thousands of priests from the country. For the residents of Sandino, the church has added significance. Sandino is an isolated town deep in the Cuban countryside, and here's where, in the early 1960s, many people considered to be enemies of Fidel Castro's revolution were sent by the government to live in internal exile. For them, life in Sandino was nothing short of a punishment. Digna Martinez's family were among the hundreds, perhaps thousands of people who in the early 1960s were considered to be opponents of the Cuban government and forcibly moved to Sandino. They brought us here, she says. It was a process to make a community for those who were called political prisoners. They took away our farm and made us come here. Church officials say the new building is not about righting old wrongs, but at long last meeting the needs of the parishioners.
Pero hay que levantarla.
It has to be built, he says. It can be the first, the second, the third. It doesn't matter to me. The important thing is people build what they need, where they need it. But here and elsewhere in Cuba, as old walls and restrictions fall, there's a sense that slowly hope is returning. Patrick Ottman, CNN Sandino.
Make the switch.